My mom cried, "Please help, the power bill is past due." I sent $3,200 that night. A week later, my cousin showed me my sister's Instagram. Poolside cocktails captioned, "Only real family invited." I just smiled. That evening, I quietly did what they feared most. I still remember the exact text. It was 8:13 p.m. on a Monday. "Please help, the power bill is past due. We're sitting in the dark. I hate to ask this, Liv, but can you send anything? I'm Olivia. I'm 34, originally from outside Raleigh, North Carolina. I've been living in San Diego for almost 9 years now. I work in tech, or more specifically, corporate strategy for a mid-sized AI company that just recently started printing money. I'd worked my ass off for years in a job that used to keep me up at night, but last month I finally landed the promotion that changed everything. Director, a 6-figure salary, stock options, and for the first time in my life, financial stability. I made the mistake of telling my family too early. They congratulated me in the family group chat. Fire emojis, heart emojis, a gif of someone popping champagne. My mom said she always knew I'd make it. My sister Vanessa called me a boss. I smiled at their messages, screenshotted the thread, even sent it to a friend of mine. Felt good. Like finally, after years of being the quiet, overlooked middle child, someone was proud of me. That feeling lasted exactly 10 days. The first request came from Vanessa. She needed $220 for tires. Said she'd been driving on wires. Then mom asked if I could help with her copay at the dentist. Then it was groceries. Then gas. The thing is, I didn't mind helping. Not at first. I told myself this is what success was for. To help the people who raised you. But that night, the power bill text, something about it hit differently. The way it was worded. The urgency. The guilt. I called her. She picked up immediately, like she'd been waiting. She told me the lights had already been shut off once. That they were using candles. That Vanessa had sold a bracelet for groceries and her phone was next. My mom said she hadn't asked my brother Zach because he was out of work again. He sounded tired. Not manipulative. Just tired. I told her I'd take care of it. I wired $3,200 that night. Not just for the bill, I told her to use it for whatever they needed. Groceries, gas, rent, whatever. I slept easy that night. I thought I'd done the right thing. The next morning she called crying. Said I'd saved them. Said she was ashamed they'd let it get that bad. But exactly 1 week later, everything flipped. I was having lunch with my cousin James in La Jolla. He works in real estate, not really close to the rest of the family, but we've always stayed in touch. We were talking about his new listing when he pulled out his phone. "You see Vanessa's latest Instagram story?" I hadn't. He handed me his phone. I stared at it for a long time. It was her. Poolside. Somewhere in Palm Springs. I recognized the background. A boutique hotel I'd stayed at once during a conference. 2 cocktails on the table. A giant sun hat. Perfect nails. The caption said, "Only real family invited." No mom. No Zach. No desperate cries for help. Just her, 2 of her friends, and my cousin Leo who lived nearby. James raised his eyebrows but didn't say anything. I handed the phone back, still silent. Then I smiled. Not a happy smile. That kind of smile you give when the puzzle pieces click into place and the picture staring back at you is nothing like what you thought you were building. That night I didn't call her. I didn't message anyone. I logged into my laptop and opened a spreadsheet I hadn't touched in months. Then I opened another tab and pulled up the deed to the house back in North Carolina. I knew exactly what they feared most. And for the first time I wasn't afraid to use it. I didn't sleep that night. Not out of rage. I wasn't angry, at least not in the way they would have expected. I was focused. Calm. Detached almost. While the house was quiet around me and the city slept, I went digging. Old files, contracts, emails from years ago, right after my dad passed. That was when everything in our family shifted. He was the buffer between us, the one who kept everyone in check. After the funeral, my mom was barely holding herself together. Vanessa and Zach disappeared for a while and someone had to handle the house paperwork, the trust, the bank accounts, the lawyer calls. That someone was me. I was 29, fresh into my new job in San Diego, flying back and forth for court signatures, meetings, and legal garbage. I did it quietly. They all let me. And in the end I was named trustee of the family trust. I didn't ask for it, I just didn't say no. That decision, made in exhaustion, gave me a kind of control none of them even remembered existed. So while Vanessa was lounging poolside with lemon slices floating in a drink paid for by me, I pulled up the trust documents. I reread the part 1 remembered vaguely just to be sure. If any heir abuses the trust or attempts to manipulate or misrepresent financial needs to extract funds, the trustee may restrict their access or remove them altogether, pending review. Was there? Clear. In legal language that only sounded complicated. Then I did something I should have done before I ever sent $1. I called the power company. Pretended I was just double-checking on a payment for my mom. They asked for the address, pulled up the account and casually told me it was all good. Current. Paid off 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. The money I sent? Never touched the electric bill. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even flinch. I just thanked them, hung up and opened another tab. This time I pulled up the activity log on the trust's linked bank account. I saw withdrawals at gas stations nowhere near their town. ATM pulls in Palm Springs. A hotel charge under Vanessa's name. That's when I knew. It wasn't just a one-time lie. It was planned. Coordinated. That night I froze the trust. No more automatic payments. I scheduled an alert to ping me every time a transaction was attempted. Then I filed a temporary hold on distributions due to suspected fraud. The firm managing the paperwork didn't even blink. They said it happens more than I'd think. By noon the next day the fallout started. Zach called me. Said mom's card was declined at the pharmacy and she was freaking out. I asked if the power was still on. He said yeah, why? I said no reason. That afternoon Vanessa finally texted. No mention of the lie. No apology. Just a quick can you send a few hundred until Friday? Mom's card's not working and she's blaming me. I wrote back one word. No. He tried to call. I let it ring. Then again. Then a third time. I didn't pick up. I let them sit with the silence. But I wasn't finished. Because in the middle of all this I got a piece of information none of them thought I'd ever see. A notification from the county clerk's office. A lien had been filed on the family home, the one still technically under the trust. I dug deeper and what I found made me sit back in my chair. It wasn't in my mom's name. It was in Vanessa's. From a payday loan place near downtown Raleigh. They hadn't just lied. They'd used the house as collateral. Without asking me. Without telling anyone. And I had proof. I stared at the scanned lien for almost a full minute, blinking like maybe I was reading it wrong. But there it was, black and white, clear as daylight. $15,000 borrowed against the house. Filed under Vanessa's name. The house wasn't in her name. Not even partially. She wasn't on the trust, wasn't listed as an owner, had zero legal standing to use it for anything, let alone collateral for a payday loan. But she'd done it anyway and the loan company either didn't care or didn't bother checking. It had been filed 2 months earlier. Way before the text about the power bill. Way before the fake crying phone call from mom. So, while I was wiring money across the country thinking I was saving them from getting their electricity cut off, Vanessa was sitting on thousands of dollars that technically didn't exist. Except now it did, as a legal debt tied to a house I was responsible for. I called my lawyer that same day. Didn't even wait. Just sent everything over with a note. Call me now. When he got on the line his voice was flat. No dramatic gasp, no outrage. Just confirmation that I had every right to take action. She had no claim. No right. What she did could be considered fraud, and if the loan defaulted the house could end up on the chopping block. A house my mom still lived in. I sat there in my kitchen looking out at the calm, perfect weather of San Diego, and felt something dark crawl through my chest. Not hate. Not even anger. Just disappointment so sharp it felt like something broke. They hadn't just lied to me. They'd gambled with something that wasn't even theirs. So I filed a formal lock on the trust. Froze all future distributions. Sent a cease and desist letter to the loan company along with documentation showing the fraudulent use of the property. Then I had a notice sent to Vanessa. Certified mail. Required signature. I didn't call her. I didn't warn anyone. I just let it hit. The first call came from Zach. I ignored it. Then 2 from mom. I waited. When Vanessa finally called it rang for so long it stopped on its own. He texted right after. What the hell is going on? I'm getting legal letters now. From you. You're blowing this way out of proportion. You don't understand how hard it's been. Mom is in tears. He thinks you hate her. Not a single apology. Not one explanation. Then she sent another one. Just 6 words. Are you really doing this, Olivia? That one made me pause. Because no one ever used my full name unless they were trying to guilt me. I didn't answer. But the next morning I answered when mom called. I figured I owed her that much. Her voice was small but not angry. She asked me why I'd done what I did. I told her everything. That the power bill lie wasn't just a white lie, it was a scam. That the trust was being abused. That her daughter had forged her way into a $15,000 loan and put their home at risk, all while pretending to need money for food and utilities. She didn't argue. Didn't interrupt. Just sat with it. Then she asked quietly, "Can it be fixed?" I told her it could, but not by me. Not this time. Later that night Zach texted me too. "Vanessa's losing it. She says you've turned on the family. Mom's caught in the middle. I'm staying out of it." But he didn't stay out of it. The next day my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. No words. Just a photo. Vanessa, sitting in a car. Red-faced. Eyes puffy. Holding up a cashier's check. $15,000. Then a message followed. I paid it off. I hope you're happy now. I didn't respond. I just saved the photo, backed up the message and let it sit. Because in that moment something shifted. For the first time in my life they were scared of losing me. Not because I was Olivia, the sister or the daughter. But because they'd finally realized what they'd done. And maybe, just maybe, they were starting to regret it. 3 days passed after Vanessa sent me that picture of the check. Not a word since. No apology. No explanation. Nothing from her, nothing from Mom, and Zach had disappeared into whatever version of staying out of it meant in his world. The quiet made me uneasy. It always did. In my family, silence was never peaceful. It was the calm between backstabs. I checked the trust account every morning and night. Passwords were changed. Alerts set. No activity. So I couldn't relax. I kept thinking, there's no way she's done. Then Thursday morning something strange happened. I was brushing my teeth when my phone buzzed with a Venmo notification. $400. From Leo, my cousin. No message. Just a lightning bolt emoji. I hadn't seen or spoken to Leo since the Palm Springs fiasco. The trip I'd only learned about because Vanessa broadcasted it all over Instagram. I texted him. Did you mean to send me that? He replied instantly. Yeah. That's your cut. From Palm Springs. V charged us $400 each for the Airbnb. Said she booked it early and fronted the cash. We all paid her back. Figured that was your money anyway. I froze. He charged them? She said she paid for it herself? Pretty much. Said she handled it and just needed everyone to Zelle her. That's your money, right? I didn't respond. I just stared at the screen. So not only had she lied about the power bill and used my money for a vacation, she turned around and profited off it. Collected rent from family. As if she was running a damn resort. I opened my laptop, found the Airbnb listing. It wasn't even cheap. $2,100 for 5 nights. Booked under her name with a prepaid visa. That lined up with the trust withdrawal. There were even messages back and forth with the host. One of them saying family retreat. Just us girls plus cousin. Girls and cousin. Not Mom. Not Zach. Not me. It was pure theater. An hour later I got a text from Mom. We need to talk. Please. Something's happened. I hesitated, then called. She answered quickly and sounded tired. Not angry, just defeated. She said she'd been contacted by someone from the county clerk's office. They'd flagged the lien. The fraud report I filed had triggered a property audit. He had to leave the house. Temporarily, they said. But until the review was complete and until it was clear who owed what, she legally couldn't stay on trust property. She was moving in with a woman from church who had a spare room. That broke me in a different way. Mom had a lot of faults. She played blind to things she didn't want to confront. But she hadn't stolen anything. She hadn't used a cent. And now she was the one being pushed out. He said, I thought Vanessa was just trying to enjoy herself. I didn't know how deep it went. But I do now. She sounded like someone who'd finally taken the blindfold off. That night I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address, but I knew the writing. Vanessa. I stood in my hallway for a minute debating whether to open it. Part of me didn't want to. But I did. It wasn't an apology. It was venom. She said I'd humiliated her, made her look like a thief in front of the family. Said I'd always needed to feel in control, and that I twisted a simple mistake into a full-blown war. Then came the part that stuck. You changed after Dad died. You became cold. This is who you are now. I hope the money keeps you warm. I sat with that for a while. Not because it hurt, but because it was exactly the kind of thing someone says when they have nothing left. But I wasn't even angry anymore. I was tired. I folded the letter, stuck it in a drawer and got ready for bed. 3 days later something happened that none of us saw coming. Zach called. 3 times in a row. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. He was crying. Not panicking, not faking it. Guttural. Something had happened to Mom. The voicemail was only 19 seconds long, but it knocked the breath out of me. Zach's voice was ragged. He could barely speak. Something happened to Mom. She collapsed. She's in the ICU. They don't know what's wrong yet. She was at the churchwoman's house. Please call me. I just sat there, phone still in my hand, waiting for the world to steady. It didn't. I called the hospital. They confirmed she'd been admitted. Cardiac arrest. No history of heart issues. No warning signs. Just collapsed in the kitchen face down. The woman she was staying with found her and called 911. By the time I got a hold of Zach again, he was already there, pacing outside the ICU. He sounded like a different person, scared, stripped down. She was doing better, he kept saying. She was just getting her strength back. And then this. I asked about Vanessa. He said she was on her way. I drove through the night. 6 hours, no stops. I don't remember most of it. Just the constant pounding in my chest and the feeling like time was melting. When I got to the hospital, it was nearly 3 a.m. I found Zach in the waiting area with a blanket over his shoulders, staring at the floor. He stood when he saw me, then just hugged me. No words. We hadn't hugged in years. Mom was stable. Unconscious but stable. They had her on oxygen and said it might have been stress-related, or exhaustion. But they wouldn't know more until the tests came back. Vanessa showed up the next morning. Sunglasses, messy bun, hoodie. She looked straight at me and didn't say a word. Just walked into the ICU room like nothing had happened. I stayed back with Zach. He pulled out his phone and showed me something. A text from Mom from the day before. I'm sorry I didn't say this earlier. You and Olivia were right. I let it all go too far. I just wanted everyone to be okay. I didn't know how to fix it. I hope you both forgive me. Zach looked at me. She knew. We sat there in silence. Over the next few days we barely left the hospital. We rotated sleeping in the car on benches in the family room. Vanessa avoided me entirely. At one point I heard her ask a nurse about next of kin, and almost lost it. I reminded the staff that I was listed on all Mom's legal documents. I was the trustee, the power of attorney. She backed off after that. Then came the bill. Despite insurance, the ICU stay, tests, and emergency transport added up fast. The estimate was just under $24,000. And it had to be paid within 15 days or risk collections. Zach looked at me. Vanessa stood in the hallway with her arms crossed. Nobody said it out loud, but we all knew what was coming. They wanted me to fix it. Zach tried to say something, but I cut him off. I'll cover it, I said. But this is it. After this, we're done playing games. I had the money. It would hurt, but I had it. I wired the payment 2 days later. No thank you. No flowers. Not even a nod from Vanessa. But Mom woke up. And when she did, the first thing she asked for was me. I stood next to her bed while she blinked up at the ceiling, her voice just a whisper. Did you save us again? I didn't answer. I just reached out, gently took her hand and held it. For a long moment, neither of us said anything. Then she whispered something else. I don't want to go back to that house. I nodded. Because I already knew what she meant. And I had a plan. When Mom whispered that she didn't want to go back to the house, she didn't have to explain. I already knew. She wasn't afraid of the physical place. She was afraid of what had happened inside it. Afraid of what it had come to represent. That house was soaked in years of guilt, manipulation, and silent resentment. It used to be home. Now it was just a structure. For walls that had seen too many fake tears and too many real betrayals. So I didn't take her back. I'd already signed the lease on a condo across town. 2 bedrooms, ground floor, fully furnished, with sunlight that poured in through the living room windows every morning. It wasn't big, but it was safe. Quiet. Neutral. She didn't say much when she walked in. Just sat on the edge of the sofa, ran her hand across the fabric and nodded to herself. This feels calm, she said. I can finally sleep. That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. The next day I made the call to the lawyer and told him I was ready. Ready to dissolve the trust. Ready to sell the house. No more waiting, no more half measures. The debts would be paid and whatever was left would be split. But this time it would be on my terms. Zach took it well. Maybe because deep down he knew it was inevitable. Or maybe he'd just had enough of the drama. He told me he'd waive his cut if I needed to recover more from Vanessa's damage. I told him not to, I wanted him to have it. Vanessa exploded. She started with a text. You're out of control. You don't speak for everyone. You're selling the only thing we have left. Then she called. I didn't answer. Then came the emails, long-winded rants where she quoted our dad, tried to guilt-trip me using old family photos, and accused me of turning Mom against her. I ignored everyone. Until she did the thing I knew was coming. He got a lawyer. Claimed the trust was manipulated, that I'd used my position to punish her, and that she deserved a full share, regardless of what she'd borrowed, lied about, or used without permission. Her lawyer reached out to mine. It lasted 3 days. After seeing the documents, the forged signature on the lien, the screenshots of her Venmo requests, the breakdown of the trust withdrawals matching the Airbnb dates, her lawyer backed off. She had no case. The house went on the market and sold in 19 days. Above asking. The payout after expenses and deductions was clean. Zach got his share. I got mine. Vanessa got what was left of hers. Minus every dollar she owed plus legal fees. She didn't say thank you. She didn't say anything. But she cashed the check. That told me everything I needed to know. In the weeks that followed, I didn't hear from her. Not even when Mom started getting stronger. Not when Mom moved from the condo into a senior community nearby, one that had yoga, art classes, and a garden club she now claims she runs. Even though I'm pretty sure she just brings snacks. Zach and I keep in touch more now. Not all the time, but the conversations are real. And for once, not about money. He's been working again. Says he's thinking about moving. I told him if he leaves the state he better not tell Mom over text. Last week I finally cleaned out the last of the old boxes I'd brought back from North Carolina. I found an old envelope with my name on it in Dad's handwriting. Inside was a folded note no more than a few lines. Don't wait for people to do the right thing. Just do yours. That'll be enough. I sat with that for a long time, because that's what all this came down to. I kept waiting for my family to act right, to treat me fairly, to be honest. And when they didn't, I acted anyway. Not out of revenge, but out of necessity. They'll never see it that way, especially Vanessa. But that's fine, because now Mom is safe. The house is gone. The debt is cleared. And I'm free. I still love them, but I don't trust blindly anymore. Not because I'm broken. Because now I finally understand where the line is, and I'm never letting anyone drag me past it again. The final update. It's been close to a year now. A quiet one mostly. No dramatic calls. No surprise emergencies. No passive-aggressive texts asking if I have time to talk. And in that silence, something strange happened. I got my life back. Vanessa never reached out again. After the house was sold and the trust was closed, she disappeared completely. Zach told me in passing that she moved to Arizona with some guy she met on Facebook Marketplace of all places. She was buying a used treadmill and ended up meeting him in person. Apparently, she packed up overnight and left without saying goodbye to Mom. There were no long speeches, no fights at the end. Just absence. Zach stuck around. Surprisingly. He's been working a stable job at a heating and air company. Even got promoted recently. He texts me when he's confused about taxes, or when he sees something online that reminds him of our childhood. The time Vanessa broke Mom's favorite lamp and blamed it on the dog, or when Dad brought home fireworks and lit them off in the rain. We don't talk about the trust anymore. Not because it's uncomfortable, it's just over. Dealt with. Mom though, she changed. Not just her environment but her energy. She's lighter. The senior community gave her a second life. She started doing watercolor classes, morning yoga, even leads a book club now. I visited her last week and saw a painting she made of the old house. Soft blues and grays, no people in the windows. She said it helped her let it go. She never asked for a copy of the sale papers. Never asked where the money went. She didn't want the details. She just wanted peace. One day over tea she said something I haven't stopped thinking about. I spent too long thinking love meant always saying yes. It doesn't. Sometimes it means stepping back before you start drowning with them. She wasn't just talking about Vanessa. Me. I'm good. Shri good. Work stable, better than ever. The promotion I got a year ago, the one that set all this in motion, doesn't define me anymore. It just gave me the option to build a life I don't have to escape from. I still live in the same San Diego apartment, but it looks different now. There's a new couch. A record player. Actual plants that haven't died. I've been seeing someone. Foley. No labels yet, and I'm not in a rush. After what I went through with my family, I've learned not to ignore red flags. Or green ones. I pay attention now. There's still that part of me that wants to fix things. It never really goes away. But I've learned to pause to ask the harder questions. Is this my responsibility? Or is it just familiar pain? I've thought a lot about that house. What it held. What it took from me. What I gave to keep it afloat. In the end, it wasn't about bricks or inheritance or history. It was about truth. And once that truth came out, about the money, the lies, the people we really were behind the family photos, there was no going back. People will always show you who they are. Believe them. And when you're the one who finally sees clearly, don't apologize for it. That's what I've taken from all this. You can love people without letting them wreck you. You can help without being used. And you can walk away not out of hate, but out of self-respect. That's how it really ended. Not with some explosion. Not with revenge. Just with me quietly choosing peace over chaos. And this time, for once, they didn't get to choose what I gave. At the family picnic, I found my son's drawing torn to shreds. My brother smirked. It was pathetic anyway. I took his hand and left without a word. After 2 months of silence, my mother was at my door in tears. Please cover the mortgage before he loses the house. I used to think my family was dysfunctional in the kind of way everyone's was. Loud holidays, too much wine, some occasional yelling that blew over by dessert. But that picnic showed me something deeper. Something I should have seen years ago. That day didn't just open my eyes. It ripped the blindfold off, kicked it into the dirt and walked away. It was supposed to be a good day. The weather was perfect, the food was packed and my son was excited. He'd worked all week on a big drawing, our family in his eyes. He'd used half the colored markers in the house, taped together 3 sheets of poster paper, and included everyone from my parents to our dog who died when I was a teenager. He even remembered the tiny freckle on my mom's chin and the crooked way my dad's glasses always sat. I didn't help him. He didn't want help. He just wanted to show it off. He told me he was nervous. I told him they'd love it. I wish I could go back and tell him not to bring it. We got there first. Laid out the blankets, unpacked the baskets, spread out the food, got the lemonade chilling under a towel in the shade. Felt normal. Comfortable even. My parents arrived next in good spirits, making jokes about being on time for once. My brother showed up last. Late. With dark circles under his eyes and a cigarette that he stubbed out just before hugging our mom. His wife didn't smile and his kids were already complaining about being bored. He barely looked at me. I greeted him anyway out of habit more than anything else. He grunted something that might have been hi. About 40 minutes in, after everyone had eaten, my son unrolled his drawing on the table like it was a gift. And to him it was. Everyone leaned in. My dad chuckled. My mom teared up. My brother's wife said it was sweet. His kids poked at the part where my son had drawn them with superhero capes. My brother stood back, arms crossed, watching. It wasn't until I came back from the car, having gone to grab a second bag of ice, that I noticed the drawing was missing. My son was standing by the picnic table looking down at the grass. I followed his gaze. His drawing had been torn to shreds, ripped into tiny pieces, dumped next to the trash like garbage. It looked like someone had gone out of their way to destroy it. He didn't cry. He just stared at it like he couldn't believe it was real. And maybe that's what broke me most. I turned to my brother and I didn't even have to ask. He was smirking. I remember that clearly. No one else was looking. No one else saw it. Just me. It was pathetic anyway, he said. Then took a sip of his beer. I didn't say a single word. I didn't need to. I picked up my son's hand and walked back to the car. My mom called after me. My dad asked what was going on. I didn't look back. I didn't explain. I didn't even pack up the food. We just left. Quietly. Without a scene. But everything changed after that. What no one at that picnic knew, not my parents, not even my son, was that for the last 8 months, I had been covering half of my brother's mortgage. Quietly. Every month like clockwork. I paid it because he'd lost his job and claimed to be dealing with something serious. And emotional burnout was the term he used. He was working through it. In the meantime, I made sure the bills were paid. His kids had food. His wife could breathe a little. He never said thank you. But I kept helping. Because I thought family meant showing up even when the other person doesn't. But after that picnic I was done. I ignored my mother's texts. I didn't answer calls. I blocked my brother's number. I didn't send another cent. I made a quiet, final decision. No fights. No confrontations. Just silence. 2 months passed. I heard nothing until one Saturday morning when my doorbell rang. It was my mother. She was crying. "Please, Ellie," she said. "Please cover the mortgage before he loses the house." I didn't invite her in. She stood there like she wasn't sure how she got to my porch. Hair messy, cardigan buttoned wrong, face puffy like she'd been crying for hours already. My mom always looked put together even when she was stressed. That day she didn't. That told me more than anything else. She jumped right in. Mortgage behind, foreclosure notice on the door, bank calling every other day, utilities about to be shut off. Mark was spiraling, she said. He barely left the house. Wouldn't talk to her or dad. The kids were scared. His wife had taken a job at a diner in town, working double shifts, coming home with swollen feet and a blank stare. She whispered that last part like it was something shameful. Then she asked the real question. Not even softly. Just straight out. "Can you cover the mortgage again?" I didn't hesitate. Oh. She blinked. Just once. Then launched into how I was the only one with a stable income, how I'd already helped before, how this was just temporary. She kept saying that word. Temporary. As if 2 years of me propping up a grown man was some recent thing. She even threw in that Mark had been looking at job listings, like that meant anything. When I didn't speak, she tried again. "Please, Ellie. Think of the kids." I told her the truth. I had thought of the kids. I thought of them when I bought groceries for their empty fridge. I thought of them when I paid to keep their lights on, their rent covered, their school fees handled. I thought of them when my own son wore shoes with holes in them for an extra month because I was stretching myself too thin. And Mark thought of no one. She stood there like she didn't recognize me. Then she turned and walked back to her car without another word. I closed the door and felt everything hit at once. Not sadness. Not guilt. Not even anger anymore. Just stillness. Like something that had been trembling in the background for years had finally stopped. I didn't reach out after that. Not to her, not to Mark, not to anyone. I got up, made breakfast, went to work, helped my son with homework, slept. And for the first time in years, there wasn't a knot in my stomach waiting for the next crisis call. A week later, my dad texted me. He's selling stuff from the garage. I didn't reply. He texted again. Furniture. Old tools. Even that busted lawnmower. That same evening, my son asked if Uncle Mark was still mad about the drawing. I told him I didn't know. Then he asked why we weren't seeing Grandma and Grandpa anymore. I said sometimes adults need space too. Another week passed. Then another. One night, I got a message from Mark's wife. Just one line. He left this morning to go job hunting. First time in over a year. I don't know what happened, but thank you. I stared at it for a while. Thought about replying. Then locked my phone and left it at that. Because the truth is, it wasn't anything I did that changed him. It was what I finally stopped doing. After that message from his wife, I didn't expect much. Mark had gone out job hunting before. Mostly sitting in parking lots, scrolling on his phone, coming home with nothing but excuses. But something felt different this time. Not because he was changing, but because I'd made it clear I wasn't part of his safety net anymore. It had always been this way. When we were kids, he'd mess up and I'd take the blame. When we were teens, he'd get into trouble and I'd smooth it over. Our parents never said it, but they expected me to be the strong one. The fixer. The one who could absorb the chaos and keep smiling. When he dropped out of college, they cried. I got a job. When he moved back home at 28, they called it temporary. I took on a second shift to help with the bills. When he got married, they were relieved. I was the one who paid for most of the wedding. But that picnic, that moment where he smirked after tearing down something my son made with love, was the first time I saw the truth without flinching. He didn't just fail. He resented us for not failing too. I'd always thought he was drowning. That he just needed help staying afloat. But that day I realized he was standing in the shallow end, dragging others down with him on purpose. A few days after the message from his wife, I saw my mom's car parked in front of my office. She was sitting in it alone, holding a cup of coffee, staring at nothing. I walked past without knocking. I wasn't ready. Not yet. Later that night, she left a voicemail. She said things were changing. Fully. Mark had gotten a part-time job at a warehouse. Night shifts, long hours. He hated it. But he hadn't quit. He was angry all the time, but for once he wasn't taking it out on everyone else. His kids noticed. His wife had stopped crying at the dinner table. Then she said something that stuck with me. We were wrong to ask you to carry all of us. It was the first time I ever heard her say that. So I didn't reply. I wasn't trying to punish anyone. I was just exhausted. I started doing something strange after that. I began teaching my parents how to say no. How to let go. How to stop enabling him. It wasn't a lecture. It was in little moments. When my mom tried to guilt me into visiting, I said not today. When my dad brought up Mark needing help moving furniture, I said I hoped he figured it out. I wasn't being cruel. I was letting them unlearn something they'd relied on too long. It wasn't just about money. It was about the habit of stepping in every time someone else fell. And slowly they stopped calling with updates about Mark. They started talking about themselves again. My mom joined a book club. My dad started going fishing with a neighbor. They began living outside of Mark's problems and outside of mine too. I hadn't realized how much of my life was built around cleaning up after other people until I stopped doing it. Mark was still struggling. But for the first time he was struggling alone. And somehow that was the best thing that could have happened to all of us. I thought the silence would be permanent. That Mark would stew in his bitterness, maybe hate me forever, and eventually settle into some resentful version of adulthood just to keep the lights on. I wasn't waiting for an apology. I didn't expect growth. I wasn't hoping for reconciliation. But life doesn't care about what you're prepared for. It started with a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. I almost deleted it thinking it was a scam, but something made me check it. Hi, this is going to sound weird. My name's Caitlin. I work with your brother. I hope it's okay that I got your number from his emergency contact file. I just thought, you should know something. I froze. She said she wasn't trying to interfere, but that she worked the night shift with Mark at the warehouse. Said he talked about me sometimes, not fondly, but always with this strange edge in his voice. Like someone replaying a loss over and over again, trying to figure out if it was their fault. Then she said something I didn't expect. He keeps talking about your kid. About the picnic. About the drawing. She paused in the message like she didn't know whether to keep going. Then she said that lately Mark had started drawing again. During breaks. On the back of shift schedules. On napkins. On old inventory reports. Cartoons mostly, but sometimes full scenes. People. Faces. A dog. A family. One night she asked who they were. He muttered something about what it was supposed to be like. That's all he said. It took me a long time to process that voicemail. I didn't call her back. But something about it stayed with me. A few days later my mom texted. He was making dinner. Just her and Dad. No drama, no guilt trips, no Mark. I almost said no like I had been for months, but I gave in. Something about her tone felt different. When I pulled into the driveway, I half expected to see Mark's car. But it wasn't there. The porch light was on and jazz was playing through the windows. Old, crackly vinyl. Inside the house was calm. The clutter was gone. There was a faint smell of garlic, not burnt meatloaf. It actually felt like a home again. My dad was in the garage, sanding down an old bench he built back in the 90s. My mom had candles lit and 3 plates set on the table. We didn't talk about anything important. Not at first. He asked about my job. I asked about her book club. We talked about a neighbor's new dog for 10 minutes. But after dessert she got up and went into the hall closet. Came back with a sketchbook. She didn't say anything, just handed it to me. I knew immediately it was Mark's. His style was rough but distinct. And something else was there. Intention. Each page had effort in it. Lines that had been erased and redrawn, details added after second thoughts. I flipped through drawings of places I hadn't seen in years. Our backyard as kids, the treehouse my dad built, our old elementary school. Then I turned the page and stopped. It was my son. Sitting at the picnic table. The original drawing spread out in front of him. Whole. Untouched. A soft smile on his face like he didn't know what was coming. The background was faint but familiar. The picnic, the trees, the faded checkered blanket we used every summer. He'd drawn it like it should have been. I didn't say anything. I closed the sketchbook and handed it back. I'm not ready to forgive him, I said. You don't have to, my mom replied. We just wanted you to know. We didn't hug. No big emotional moment. But something cracked open that night. Something that had been sealed tight for a long time. As I left, my dad walked me out. On the porch he said quietly, "You're not responsible for any of us anymore. We know that now." I nodded. Got in my car. Drove home. Later that night I opened my laptop and pulled up my son's scanned drawing. I had saved it after the picnic, even in pieces. I never told him. I'd planned to tape it back together one day. I never did. But now I was thinking about doing it, not for Mark. Not even for closure. Just because maybe now we were all starting to redraw things differently. A month passed. No updates. No messages. No surprise drop-ins. Nothing. For the first time in years my family wasn't orbiting around Mark's chaos. It was like someone had finally shut off the emergency alarm that had been ringing in the background of my life since I was old enough to pick up the slack. I expected that peace to feel hollow. It didn't. It felt like coming up for air after staying underwater way too long. Then one evening my dad called. Not my mom. My dad, who usually only called when the car battery died or something was leaking. He asked if I could help him order something online. A part for his fishing reel. I walked him through it, half expecting him to pivot the conversation. To say, "Well, I've got you. Mark needs," but he didn't. He thanked me and hung up. That was the first real sign. The second came the next weekend. My mom invited us over for brunch. When we got there, my son ran into the kitchen and found a plate of pancakes shaped like animals. He was thrilled. And there was no Mark. No mention of him. Just pancakes, fresh fruit, and small talk about fall festivals. I helped my mom wash dishes afterward. We didn't talk about the past. We didn't talk about forgiveness. She just smiled and said she'd started volunteering at the library again. Said it helped her remember who she was before all of this. Then she said something I didn't expect. "You were right to walk away." She said it quietly, without bitterness. Like she'd spent a lot of nights replaying things and finally arrived at the same truth I had. That enabling wasn't love. That saving someone repeatedly doesn't help them grow. It just convinces them they never have to. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. A week later Mark called. I saw the name flash on my screen and let it ring. Then he texted. Just one word. "Coffee?" I didn't answer that day. Or the next. I let it sit. 3 days later I said yes. We met at a small cafe near the warehouse where he worked. I got there early. He was 10 minutes late, which felt right. When he walked in he looked different. Not better. Just real. No forced grin. No slouched, manipulative charm. Just tired eyes and a paper notebook in his hand. He didn't apologize. He didn't make excuses. He just said he'd started therapy. Said he'd been drawing every day. That he'd sold a piece online, some cartoon commission thing. That he was thinking of enrolling in a night class. Then he reached into his notebook and slid something across the table. It was a printout. A scan of his own version of the family drawing. His kids. His wife. My parents. Him. Me. My son. No one was perfect in it. He'd drawn himself with a stain on his shirt. My mom with her reading glasses. My dad with his bad posture. Me with bags under my eyes. And my son's drawing was in the middle of the table, fully intact. He didn't say what it meant. He didn't have to. We didn't talk long. Maybe 20 minutes. Then he left. I sat there for a while holding that paper, not knowing what I felt. Forgiveness wasn't automatic. It wasn't owed. But for the first time I saw he was trying, not for me. Not for guilt. Just because the ground beneath him had finally shifted and he realized no one was coming to carry him anymore. And that maybe for the first time he didn't want them to. After that coffee we didn't fall into some new version of closeness. We didn't start texting every day or planning family dinners. I didn't rush to tell my parents what happened, and I definitely didn't show my son the drawing right away. It felt like something I had to hold on to for a bit just for myself. Quietly. Mark didn't become someone else overnight. But he didn't disappear either. A few weeks after the cafe my mom told me he was still working night shifts. Still showing up. Said he was saving up to buy his oldest a new backpack because the one he had was ripping down the side. That detail hit me harder than it should have. Not because it was sad but because it was the first time in years Mark was thinking ahead. Planning. Providing. Then one afternoon my son came home from school with a flyer. Art contest. Something local. He asked if he could enter. Of course I said. But later that night he hesitated. Told me he wanted to draw the family again, but wasn't sure if he should. Asked why. He said he didn't want it to get ruined this time. I didn't push. Just told him that it was his drawing and whatever he put on paper was his, no matter what anyone did. The next day he started sketching. Not our actual family but a version of one. There were hints of real people. My dad's glasses, my mom's gardening hat, Mark's youngest with her lopsided pigtails. But it was stylized. Imaginative. Untouchable. I sent a photo of it to Mark. No caption. An hour later he replied. Tell him it's brilliant. I didn't pass the message along. Not yet. Not until I knew Mark meant to say it to him, not through me. And a few days later he did. We were at my parents' place for dinner. Mark showed up unexpectedly but he didn't bring drama with him. Just a grocery bag full of drinks and a new board game for the kids. No one made a big deal out of it. And when he saw my son's drawing pinned to the fridge he stopped, looked at it for a long time, then finally turned and said, "You're really good at this." That was all. No theatrics. Just the words. Direct. From him. My son beamed and went right back to eating. Later that evening Mark and I were in the kitchen alone. He asked how much I had covered back when he wasn't paying the mortgage. I didn't want to go there but he pressed. I told him. He didn't flinch. He nodded like he already knew the number and just needed to hear me say it out loud. Then he said something I never thought I'd hear. "I'm not going to pay it back. But I'm going to earn it." It wasn't a promise. It was a direction. That night as we left my mom hugged me and didn't say anything about Mark. My dad offered to fix the headlight on my car. No one asked me to do anything. No one hinted at me being the responsible one. I was just Ellie. Their daughter. Sister. Mom. A person. Not a safety net. In the weeks that followed I saw more change. Not just in Mark but in me. I started saying no more easily. I stopped explaining myself. I let my parents handle their own boundaries. And when Mark messed up, and he still did, just not in the ways he used to, I let him clean it up himself. And slowly something new started forming between all of us. Not the old version of family we'd been pretending to be. Something messier, smaller, more real. And this time I wasn't carrying it. I was just part of it. The final update. It's been just over 5 months since the picnic. The one I thought would be the final break in our already fragile family. And honestly, in a way it was. It broke something, yes. But not what I thought. It broke the cycle. That quiet, dangerous rhythm we had all fallen into. Where I cleaned up, they denied, and Mark crumbled a little more each year while blaming everything but himself. That's gone now. For good. Mark still works at the warehouse. But now he's in charge of inventory, which I never thought I'd say without laughing. He doesn't complain about it. He just shows up. He takes the night shifts, picks up the slack when someone else calls out, and even helps train the new guys. He's become something I honestly didn't think he was capable of. Reliable. His wife's baking side business? It's not just something small anymore. She started an Instagram page and now people are placing orders for birthdays, baby showers, even weddings. One Saturday morning she dropped off a cake at my place. Just showed up with it, smiled and said, "For your son. I know it's late but he deserved one after the contest." The cake was shaped like a sketchpad. He loved it. They're kids. Totally different energy now. The last time I saw them they were arguing over who got to push the grocery cart. Not whispering or shrinking away like they used to. They were loud, normal, safe. My parents are happier. Not in a dramatic way, but I can see it. They've stopped waiting for disasters. My mom took a short trip with some old friends from college, something she hadn't done in decades. My dad is back to fiddling in the garage, building half-finished benches and birdhouses no one asked for. And the best part? They've stopped asking me to fix things. For the first time, I'm not the default problem solver. I'm just me. We've had a few family dinners since everything changed. Not every weekend. Not forced. Just when it makes sense. The first one we all brought something. Mark brought drinks and some sort of strange spicy dip none of us liked, but no one teased him for it. My son drew a comic strip version of the night with Mark accidentally blowing up the dip in a microwave and all of us flying through space. It's on my fridge now. Mark laughed when he saw it. Then, about a week ago, something happened that really made it hit me. How far we've come. There was a small art exhibit at the local community center. Nothing big. Just local kids showing off their stuff. My son's drawing was there along with a few of his classmates. He didn't win anything this time, but he didn't care. He was proud just to have it on the wall. Mark showed up halfway through. No big announcement. No drama. He just stood at the back, hands in his pockets, watching. He didn't try to talk to me or insert himself. But when my son walked by, he looked at him and said, "Looks like talent runs in the family." But my son grinned for the rest of the day. After the event, as people were packing up, Mark came over. Handed me a small wrapped box. It wasn't even my birthday. No holiday. Just a moment. Inside was a simple keychain. A small silver pencil with the word "unbroken" engraved on the side. I looked at it for a long time before I said anything. He didn't try to explain it. Just said, "You didn't fix me. But you made it impossible for me to keep breaking." And that was the closest thing to an apology I ever got. And it was enough. I still keep boundaries. I still say no when I need to. But the difference now is, I'm not afraid that saying no will shatter everything. Because we're not built like that anymore. We're not pretending to be okay just to keep peace. We're learning to be honest. To sit in discomfort when it's necessary, to own our stuff, to apologize without turning it into a performance. It's slow. It's clumsy. But it's real. And the thing I didn't expect? I'm happy. Not the kind of happy that comes from everything being perfect. But the kind where you finally stop caring what was never yours. Where you can breathe without guilt. Where your family isn't a job, it's a place you want to be. We didn't go back to what we were before. We became something better. Something smaller maybe. But stronger. Something unbroken. Now this is the real end.